Hello, chess enthusiasts! This is a classical time control game played on September 26, 2016 from the 10th Tal Memorial. Jan Nepomniachtchi has the white pieces and Evgeny Tomashevsky has the black pieces. Nepo starts e4 and Tomashevsky responds e5. It continues knight f3, knight c6, and d4 the Scotch game. Black takes on d4 and the knight recaptures. Most common here is bishop c5 followed by a series of moves where both sides battle for the critical d4 square. Instead, black played the second most common move, knight f6. White can defend e4 with knight c3, but this allows black to pin the knight to the king. Then white wants to play bishop d3 to save the pawn, but that interferes with the queen's defense of the knight on d4. So first an exchange of knights, then bishop d3. This is alright, but at any moment black can capture the knight on c3, making a mess of white's pawn structure. For that reason, it's more common to first see the exchange of knights, then e5, and white remains aside asking questions. Of course, black doesn't sit back and let white cruise along, so we see queen e7 pinning the pawn to the king and threatening to take it. Now white takes the same forceful approach with queen e2, defending the pawn and stopping the pin, so pawn takes knight is once again a threat. Knight d5, c4, bishop a6, and we're starting to see a trend. Pins. And trust me, there will be more. Still, the theme of this game so far has been pretty instructive. In the opening, and even throughout the game, there will be opportunities to meet your opponent's threats with counter threats or developing moves. This is much more effective than letting your opponent build up their forces while you sit back and watch. White plays b3, reinforcing c4, and planning to play bishop b2 to support the center. Now black wants to develop their kingside. Either direction the bishop goes, it will take it 2 moves to leave its home. So black plays g6, believing that's the more active route. Then f4. White is setting up a trap by predicting black's next move. After bishop g7, the e5 pawn is defended, so queen f7 is particularly strong. There's no more pin on the c-pawn, so the knight must retreat. Then bishop a3 developing with tempo. Here, black should try a counter-attacking move like knight e4, leading to this line. It is still better for white, but black can plant a castle, and if white ever tries to develop his knight, then there is always knight d3 check, and black can simplify. Since white has much more space, this is beneficial for black. Instead, black plays d6, creating a target for white. White continues to bring forces to the front line with knight c3, black castles kingside and white castles queenside. Even though the queenside pawns may have been pushed, this move unpins the e-pawn and brings the rook to its ideal square. The knight once again has to retreat, then g3. White is in no hurry. The bishop on g2 will be placed perfectly to attack more black weaknesses. Black plays bishop b7 in anticipation of bishop g2 and perhaps to eventually untangle with c5. Bishop g2, then f6 attempting to chip away at white's center. But it is too little, too late. White takes on d6 and black should have recaptured with the pawn, but the knight on the back rank this far into the game is an unpleasant sight. So knight takes d6. However, this allows white to seize the initiative. c5 shutting down the b7 bishop and kicking the knight away again, who at this point is more of a punching bag. Then rook h to e1 and white's rooks dominate the middle of the board. Queen f7 and bishop f1 with dire intentions. If knight e7 planning to meet bishop c4 with knight d5, then white plays rook d7 and black is tied in a knot. In game we saw rook f to d8, rook takes d8, a recapture, and bishop c4. Out of desperation, Tomashevsky plays rook d5, then Nepo plays the calm queen e2, and black resigns. The idea is white wants to get his queen to b8, where the bishop is trapped. There is still a pin on the rook to the queen, and I can draw more arrows here, but I think you get the point. White is crushing. I hope you enjoyed this game. Subscribe for more.